Hello and welcome to the Dumbfounder Show. And it's your number one dumbfounder. But at the end of the day, that's what you got to do is you got to be dumb, and then you got to be smart after you're dumb. So let's get inspired. So as everybody just knows, the latest Y Combinator video just dropped, and so what are we gonna do with that information? So I'm going to share my whole screen and then you'll see everything what's going on here. This is just going to be what I call an hour of code. And it's Tuesday. Tuesday is my day off. And that's when, usually I take the day off, but today I think I'm going to do some coding. All right. So what I'm going to do here is, I got to sit up a little bit. Let's just take this video and probably we could just uh, have you seen this video? Right, so it shouldn't be too difficult. And the reason that I'm saying that is let's just take a look. I had some problems last week with my anti-gravity. And because anti-gravity, I don't know, I'm having a lot of problems with Google these days. I don't know what's going on with Googly Goo, but it's really a problem. And I'm running out of tokens. It's making me wait for several days. um, I'm trying to create these images. Like even this, like if you look at the this this thumbnail, like so I started the conversation. I said, let's just wait a minute before we start coding. So I just want you to think about what it's going to take for us to make a thumbnail for YouTube, and then after that, you have programmed yourself so that you're ready to design the thumbnail, blah blah blah. So it should know that I want it to create a YouTube thumbnail. So then I just uploaded some images, and then boom, it's not even the right size. I'm so confused. Anyways, let's see what it says. Yes, I've accessed the video. It appears to be the brand new interview published today. All right. Subject. Okay, so can I talk? Are you going to be able to hear me? Let's see if I can just click this button or if we're going to have a problem. Hello. Okay, so let's just keep talking. All right. So the thing is that when I was watching that video, I just since I'm not a software programmer, I have no idea the different types of interfaces that they're talking about using. So they talked about things called like a terminal and a CLI, and they talked about using Claude Code and different ways to use it. So I'm a little bit confused about like because I've been using anti-gravity, and I think they mentioned something like maybe we'll get to the point where we're not using an IDE anymore. And also, you talked about something about some MD, like a markdown file, or some like there's a lot of different things that they discussed. So I want you to tell me like now that I'm should I continue using anti-gravity or should I use some other form of programming tool? Like, how should I go forward with my project? Basically, I have my full project and all the files are on my computer, and right now I'm accessing them through this thing. So I'm just wondering, the are they and when they talk about Claude Code, are they talking about Opus 4.6 or are they talking about some other model? And yeah, so then I heard that if you use Claude Opus on GitHub, then you actually could use like you can use 4.6 without any limits. So, but then is it an IDE or like how do I do that? So I need some instructions about what's the best workflow and how are we going to continue with my project? And what are some other pointers that they mentioned in the video so that I can internalize those as we move forward? Okay, so I can see here that we have Claude Opus 4.6, but we don't have Claude Opus 4.6 fast. I think we're going to close this one and we're just going to use this one. All right, so here's my Yes, this is the thing. So I saw this thing about spaces. We got Spark. Um, I don't know what these things are. I don't know what they're supposed to do. And then also we got assistive, we got download, we got create new. What is this? Create new issue repository, new code space. I suppose it's create new code space. Select a repository branch. This is a fascinating. I'm just gonna listen to this audio. It makes perfect sense that you are confused. You just watched two highly technical people inside Silicon Valley bubble talking about the bleeding edge of software development in February 2026. They are using shorthand that even experienced engineers are just getting used to. Let's strip out his jargon and translate, said founder building a product. Here's the breakdown of the reality they described and what it means for your workflow. Part one, Drug Buster. Overcome terminal. You don't need to know how they build these things. The terminal or CLI. Okay. Oh, so you can get me, but you can't hear that. Okay. Yeah. He mentioned he uninstalled his IDE. Why? Because he doesn't type code anymore. If Claude is so good at typing, why do you need a human-centric typing tool? Claude Code, the agent versus the brain. Opus 4.6, brain. This is the smartest AI model Anthropic makes right now in our timeline. You can access it through a chat window or on a website. Code the agent. This is a piece of software that you install on your computer. It lives in the back terminal screen. It is powered by the Opus 4.6 brain, but it has hands. It has permission to read your local files, edit them, delete them, and run commands on the computer. The big takeaway from the video, where it says to help us productivity boost, you need to stop chatting Claude on the website and let Claude agent Claude code actually touch your files directly. They talk about Claude code using Opus 4.6. Is that what they are using? Yes, they are using Claude code agent tool in their terminal. That agent is currently powered by Opus 4.6 model. I think that if you use Cloud's Opus on GitHub, then you get unlimited 4.6 without limit. Is it an IE? There is some confusion here based on what they said. GitHub is not an IE. It's where code is stored online. Boris mentioned the Cloud Code integrates with GitHub to read other people's code and manage his projects. Rumor, you're likely hearing about specific integration where if you're paying for certain enterprise GitHub tiers or Anthropic tiers, usage limits are vastly higher, or not usually free unlimited for general public, but for professional dev, caps are effectively remote. Don't worry about this yet. Your current setup is fine for host access. Anti-gravity either way. You should I continue using anti-gravity or should I use some other form of programming tool? This is the crux of it. Anti-gravity in our scenario is likely a very user-friendly, perhaps visual or local interface that abstracts away the scary terminal. It feels safe. However, if you want to work the way Boris Cherny described in that video, anti-gravity is likely holding you back. Boris's entire philosophy is that the interface gets in the middle of the AI. Your workflow, according to the video, If you want to embrace the hour of code mentally, your files are local. Look at this. Your project is on your computer. Perfect. Interface is the terminal. Instead of opening anti-gravity, you open your computer's terminal or command prompt on Windows. You run Cloud Code. You type command that wakes up the Cloud agent inside the terminal. You talk to it. You type natural language into the terminal like, "Hey Cloud, look at the landing page file and change the key image." It does the work. You watch the terminal as Cloud says, reading files, thinking, editing files, and makes changes directly into your hard drive. You don't copy and paste code files. Stick with your current setup. Net reality for today's session, but sort of adopting the mental model Bruce was talking about. As you get the current practical cultures to internalize the builder mindset. Even if you don't use the terminal today, listen to adopt two concepts from the video immediately to be successful modern builder. The cloud empty place demand is the most crucial non-technical takeaway. What it is, a simple text file inside your project name. What it does is the instruction manual for Claude on how to behave specifically for your project, how you use it every time you have to correct Claude. You don't use blue. Our brand uses green. Don't delete comments in the code. You stop and add the rule to. Okay, I don't know. Like, what does that even say? It's just saying use one tool, don't use a different tool. Like, all right, so maybe we're not quite at some future where I can make these big changes. All right. Now the thing is that this has happened a couple of times where I build something and then I'm ready to like go to the next stage of the build. Um, I got Cuba Connect up here, and I got my Project Arrowhead project. I don't know. I've been looking through this Project Arrowhead thing for quite a while, and I'm not sure what I should do with it right now. The official base price for Claude API token is consistent across all major providers, $5 per million input tokens and $25 per million output tokens. Therefore, the cheapest price isn't about finding the lower base rate. It's about utilizing discount and free credits. The best is Anthropic's direct API with batch processing. This offers 50% discount if you don't need instant responses. AWS Bedrock with free credits. New AWS account can get 200 free credits for Bedrock if it making your okay. Anthropic Direct API, standard price, batch processing discount. hmm Right. Well, I'm not sure. So let's continue with what we're doing. Let's see how long we can use our project here before we get like messed up again, like last time. All right. So okay. Now, if we look inside of Jules, I'm pretty sure that. So we're just gonna delete Project Arrowhead for now. We're gonna close this tab. Um, what's this project? This is just some questions from GitHub. code spaces. So we're not going to do code spaces for now. We're just going to go back to not Cubit Connect. Cubit Connect. Yeah, we're going to go to Cubit Connect. All right, so we're in Cubit Connect. Now I got some issues. So now we got to set up this project. And the question is, how do I set up the project? How are we going to set up the project? What are we going to do to set up this project? And we basically have a few people to work with here. So we have, I don't know, I've been thinking about how we're going to do this. Um, One question I had is it possible for me to open a new window and then Cubic Connect B and then open a folder and then click Cubic Connect B? Where is it? Now, so is it possible for me to open up two at the same time? No. Maybe? Yes? No, maybe so. Anti-gravity? Why does it say anti? Okay. Here. Okay, so you can't open up two workspaces on different things. And then if I open Agent Manager, these are different chat windows. It's just going to start a new conversation. You know, because I'm starting to hear like people talking about this and that, and it's like I'm hearing new things, but I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about. So let's just focus on what we know right now, and we can move on from there. So one thing that I'm starting to experience is that I'm starting to realize that here's my dashboard. So here's basically my goals. I have some kind of goal, something that I'm working on, and then now I'm thinking about what my goal number two is. And one of the issues is this little X. What's that talking about? It's talking about like when I create this information. So I have two big problems right now. One is this is using, and then I'm not exactly always happy with the output that is being produced. And in addition to that, uh, I want to be. I think I want a little X to be. All right. So let's go into. Let's use our Claude 4.6 thinking, and now let's spin up a couple of new agents because I want to do a couple of things. So let's put one over here and then one over there. All right, so let's get started. I want you to work as a team. I'm going to have two Gemini agents working with me and working with the code. And so now I would like you to be the architect. And the question is about like, what do you need to know from the Google Anti-Gravity IDE in order to be up to speed on the code and what we've done so far. Now in here, so we wrote some files so that we can help Google Gemini understand its role and our code base. Have you seen those files? Do they need to be updated? Okay, this is a strong start. As your architect, my job is to understand the system, the structure, and the objective so I can guide the other agent, the builder, and the coder effectively since you are using Google, which is a project IDX. The Google, I cannot see inside your browser tab directly. I need you to be the eyes to get the speed. Cubit connect your app to prepare hour of code session. Please copy and paste or screenshot the following 4 things from your IDE. Okay. And what does this one say? All right, let's check again. So it looks like okay, we got the file structure, we got the configuration, and we got the type interfaces. That's context, and then we got the API logic. Mission for today. Okay, so we have some small differences. So now what we might want to do is we'll just do so I have another what's it called? I have another instance open on another tab. This is what it thinks. Oops. Name 30 things that are missing. Give feedback about which of the 30 things are missing are most important and which do not matter right now. What are 10 more things that are missing? All right, so it named like quite a bit of things. All right, let's check back here. Okay, so here we go. Wow, what's happened here? Let me look at the Gemini context. I found several documents. Let's look at the key ones which serve as context files, particularly this one, this one, this one, and this one. Now let's also check the actual, let's close this up. Let me check the actual current state of the code base. Auditing Gemini code files, completed the full audit of the 12 documents. Verifying current code base state against documentations. Yes, I found that and audited all 12 document context files in your project. Here's the verdict. They're significantly outdated and need updating. Here's the breakdown, the biggest issues. The Gemini model is wrong everywhere. Docs say that it's an active model. The code actually says that the Gemini 2.5 Flash is the primary, with Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite as a fallback via a circuit breaker. Affected files, data models are stale. Docs show this. The actual schema is now recursive. Docs are missing. The file map is incomplete. Notable state says strike 13 is active. In my recommendation, these files are written to give an AI context about the project. They definitely need full research. Would you like me to update all the files, consolidate some of them, focus on the most critical ones? Also, these files specifically for Google Gemini and other IDE like AI Studio, Windsurf, or should they also serve as general projects? We are now only using Google anti-gravity IDE one update all files. Okay, that's my dog. Okay, the other agent is technically correct, but it's acting like a senior systems architect who's preparing for a 6-month enterprise audit, not a founder trying to film an hour of code video right now. If you're trying to gather all 30 of those things, your hour of code will become 4 hours of copy pasting config files. Here's my feedback as your lead engineer. I will ruthlessly cut the list down to what actually matters for us to start building today. Ignore these, ignore these, ignore these, focus on these, focus on these, focus on these. Okay. Copy this. Give feedback about which of the 10 things that are missing and are most important and which do not matter right now. Here is some feedback from another AI instance. Give feedback about which of the things, let's say the things are missing, which are most important. So it's just, for me, what's happening is we're trying to get these to kind of figured out. We want them to really get some context for what's happening, what they think that they need, what they want, and then at the same time we have this guy who is working on the code. Now, in general, my experience with Jules has been like it's kind of a waste of time. Um, like, yeah, so the good thing about Jules is that it does like every couple of days, maybe I think once a week, it just goes in, it reads all the code, and then it just makes some suggestions. I don't know, like we can complete this test, but might need some guidance. Recursive retry logic, expensive markdown parsing for simple text. I don't really know how important these things are. I don't know anything about coding. I was working on that last week, and then eventually I used up all my tokens. So I've had about 4 or 5 days without any coding. Um, but now I want to add a couple of features. First of all, this button stopped working. I don't know why. And I want to be able to I want to be able to add like a little X here so I can remove sections of text that I don't want. So what I've come to realize is that my little project here is basically a text editing. It's for editing text. That's what it does. Um, Recognizing what you have is kind of an interesting experience. And I would say I didn't really recognize what I had before, but now I'm starting to recognize it. So, for example, here's a video I have it on Instagram. It's called a 6-word story, and this guy he talks about what is a 6-word story, and then there's two issues that I'm trying to solve here. One is that I would like to be able to delete boxes. I want to be able to click that, and then it just completely removes it. And then at this, also, I want to improve the general output. Now, the output isn't exactly the most important issue right now. I think that we can improve output over time. As you can see up here, I have like three Instagram posts that I've been using that I think are interesting and that I've been constantly using as I've been testing out my product. It's still generating. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to kind of get away from using this Excel spreadsheet. I like using the Excel spreadsheet, but and I've started to kind of get used to using the Excel spreadsheet, but I want to like move it into the code. I want everything to work. inside of this coding experience. Now, I was developing something called Project Arrowhead for quite a while. And although I really like everything about this and I've really enjoyed the experience of developing this, for right now, I'm trying to build from the bottom. So if you go to the public site, what you can see is that I have these 17 questions. And the 17 questions, they are to help to inform you about things that you should be adding to your task list. And then when we go into the Cubit Connect, then the problem is that actually I kind of already know the things that I want to do. And then so Cubit Connect, it's for actually getting things done. And I have the design. I have this design, and then that's what I want to build. So I want to build this now. Like I got it all wired up, right? The API is wired. So why can't we just like add another button? We can call it to do. And then you click the to do, and then it goes to the next page. And then on that next page, that's where we're going to be able to start working on this interface here. There's a lot of things that I want to do with this, and but most of all, I want to design it so that it can help me with the work that I'm doing. Sometimes I feel like a little bit lost with what I need to be doing. Like for example, as you can see here, it's getting better and better. Like just defining what I want to do. And all right, so let's keep going. Let's accept all. Okay, all done. 10 or 12 document files. Here's the quick summary. 3 full rewrites, project handoff, data models, MD, active context, 5 significant updates, 6 items checked, 2 changes needed, contributing, README, key changes across all files, Gemini model, dual model, circuit breaker, file map expanded from 10 to 35 plus entries covering all the components, hooks, schemas, and routes. Data models are rewritten to match the actual ZOD schemas. Dark mode no longer forbidden, documented as implemented. ID, all references updated to windsurf to anti-gravity. Personas removed, GDE, anti-gravity roleplay, simplified as AI assistant. Okay, walk through the summary of all time. Walk through, summarize all documentation, refresh all 12 context files. Okay, so can you now? This is the thing. It's like which one is? Because I don't want to use a huge amount of. Let's do Gemini Flash. Okay, so push all to GitHub. All right. This is the classic architect versus engineer standoff. The verdict: listen to the engineer. The architect is trying to build a skyscraper that will last 100 years. The engineer knows you are trying to film a 5-minute video today for an hour of code session. Speed and narrative beat strict compliance. Here's a breakdown of what matters and what doesn't. What to keep, the must-haves. Qubit interface. Okay. So now we're going to get the arbitrator. So we have 2 different models, or 2, I mean the same model, but so we're going to take this, we're going to copy that, we're going to go jump back into our Claude 4.6, and then so I've been chatting with the 2 Gemini AI instances. One said this, the other said this. consider what they have said and then make a final decision for which files I should give them so that they are ready to work with us to update the project. There, so we got all our files updated with Claude Opus 4.6. We got these two Gemini instances definitely, like, because they're ready. They're ready to think about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what this is all about. And then we're going to okay, both Gemini instances are saying the same thing with different accents. Let me cut through the noise and give you the definitive answer. Here's my verdict. Both Gemini instances agree on 5 things. Give them exactly those 5 files. Both engineer and architect have converged on the same core needs. Here are the exact files to paste in priority order. Tier 1, non-negotiable. Okay, the cubit interface. 49 lines of code. Okay, what is going to happen when I click this? Gordon D, what are you doing? Relax, buddy. All right, so what happens if I click this? So what's the difference between this and like this and this? So if I click this, it's the same. And click this, and it's still the same. And then click this, it's still the same. Okay. What happened? Okay. All right, that's number 3. If I click this, nothing should change. Number 4. Okay, tier number 2, context files, so they don't ask 100 questions. What not to give them? Config files, test files, all 21 component files, docs, project handoff. Okay, it's here. Okay, last but not least is the project handoff file. All right, so I would say that this is probably the easiest of bottom line, the 5. That's it. Paste them in this order. Did I do it in the right order? Yeah. Both instances also ask you to tell them the hook happy path. That's you answer, not code file. That's the one thing you want to show off or build next. That'll focus them immediately. Okay. Okay, so we have 2 brand new IDEs, brand new Gemini 3 instances, which are up to date and with the latest code, everybody is ready to go. Okay. Okay, so those are actually all the files that the Gemini anti-gravity asked me to provide to you so that you would be able to understand the current code base. Do you have any additional questions that you would like to ask anti-gravity or any other files you would like to see? And then we will talk about what we're going to work on next. Okay, so everybody's ready to go. Now, so we have two different directions. We have the Cubit Connect engine, and then I would like also, I want to add a new button up here, which will take us to another window. But then the question is, how do we get back here? The purpose is what? So this is doing something which is, or do we just build, or do we build, um, nice. The problem, your current task, find step, add children. It cannot do this. The deep dive button will work once, but if you try to click it again, nothing will happen. So did he name himself? This is architect, and who's this? We'll call this one engineer. Now, part of the reason I'm doing this is because like this one is still talking about some context that because we're trying to like make a video today, so it's talking about the thumbnail strategy, which is not really interesting right now. So I'm trying to change its like thinking. Um, all right, so I could say here is a conversation between architect and engineer, and read the comments and tell me how well they understood the documentation and what you think is best forward to address this and or other issues the code base. Architect. Engineer. What are they missing? Okay, so the decision I have to make right now is I want to move away from this. I mean, I don't mind having a list of, in fact, this whole section on business topics, it's, I don't know. I mean, we can go through it. I'm just not really sure if that's what we want to do right now. And then we have also AI video. How are we going to do AI video? We're supposed to be, today's video was actually supposed to be like some day one with high low AI video. That didn't really work out as I thought it was going to. Uh, then we got our vibe coding and the vibe coding philosophy. So the project IDX versus cursor, we didn't have that discussion at all. And I don't think I don't really want to talk about that. The three agent boardroom, how to use multiple LLM personas for problem solving. Okay, that's exactly what we're doing right now. We can actually we could get a Google standards persona to help us with this, but we don't really necessarily need to. Okay, they're half right, but they're missing the bigger problem. The architect correctly spotted that this is shallow. It only searches this level 2 and can't find a step at the level 3 plus. The engineers proposed fixing is functionally correct, but follows the same recursive pattern already used by this and this. What they completely missed, the UI is also capped at 2 levels. The store fix is the easy part. The much bigger issue is the itself hard codes only 2 levels for rendering. But level 3 have no deep dive buttons and no ability to expand further. Yeah. Even if you fix the store to support the level 4 plus, the UI can't trigger it. There's no on cubit button on level 3 items, no recursive rendering to show level 4 plus. The component they called the perfect visual engine is actually a flat 2-level template, not a recursive component. A truly recursive version would need a recursive, the component renders itself for children at any depth. 2 more things they missed. The neighbor context logic is also shallow when building the neighbor context for the AI prompt. The handle cubit only looks at the parent task. If you deep dive from level 3 plus, it won't find the neighbors. It looks for the step ID in the top level steps only. The active processing ID check is shallow. The selector only checks level 2 step IDs. If you're processing a 3-step plus, the spinner won't show because the ID won't match. Okay. My recommendation, if the goal is filming a demo, you have 2 options. Quick fix, 30 minutes. Just fix this in the store at full fix, 2 to 3 hours extract. Full fix. Let's stop there for a second. Okay. Okay, I got some feedback from the IDE, anti-gravity, and I think that there's a little bit of confusion because, in fact, the whole purpose for Qubit Connect engine is that I want to be able to put in a transcript or put in some text, and then what the system does is it's going to send that text. It's going to have an area on the screen which is called your distilled recipe. And in the your distilled recipe section, what it does is it's going to take the transcript and it's going to break down the concept into the main tasks. So we just have to assume that the transcript that I'm giving to the that I'm feeding into the engine, the purpose of it is it's going to be some kind of education. So it's like, whenever you get a recipe, you want to know like exactly like what are the main things that you have to do, what are the main to-do items, what are the main tasks, and then also sometimes when you have a main task, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy for you to do that task or that you understand how to do that task. And so then there's a little button on the screen which says cubit, and you click that button on the screen, and what it does is creates this it creates 4 steps. It gives you 4 steps it generates 4 steps so that you will understand how to go a little bit deeper into that specific step or that specific task. So I'm going to upload a picture of this image. You're going to see the cubit button, you're going to see the deep dive button. And so when you click the cubit button, it generates 4 steps. You'll be able to see those 4 steps in the image. And next to each of the items, you're going to see a deep dive button. Now, I'm going to basically have the same section of the screen, but I'm going to click the deep dive button. And what you'll notice is that it produces an additional 4 items. And the thing is, the problem that we're facing is that, in fact, this is as deep as we want it to go. We don't want it to go any more deep than this. We only want the first workflow to produce the main tasks from the transcript. And then we want whenever if we decide that there's a certain area of the recipe that we want to change, or I mean if we want to get more details, then we want like the full context to be sent to to Gemini through the API so that it can understand that specific step that we're going to be taking, and so that it can also elaborate specifically on that specific step by giving 4 more sub steps. Now, it's also possible in the app to edit the text. And so if we personally edit the text, then when we click, for example, if I click Qubit after I've edited the text on the screen, then I want the text that I've edited to be sent through the API so that when it gives us when it generates those 4 steps with the deep dive button next to each one, then it's going to give us the specific output as it relates to the text which I've edited so that we get a better response. And then now when before I click the deep dive, it's also possible that I can also edit any of those 4 steps that were created when I clicked Qubit. And so then I also want, when I click deep dive, if I've edited that one of those 4 steps or all of those 4 steps, then I want the edited content and all of the content before and after that deep dive button to be sent, so that the 4 additional sub steps that appear underneath the 4 steps that are generated, or specifically the step that I'm trying to have a deep dive, so that it will understand all the text that has been printed in all of the other layers. And then it will give us a very clear understanding of it'll create a better output for how those substeps fit within the 4 steps that were previously generated. And that's as deep as we're going to go. So we're not going to go any deeper than that. And so we don't want to add any extra code. We don't need to create extra layers. This is as far as we're going with this specific part of our project. Here's the feedback from anti-gravity, and I want you to tell me I want you to create a prompt so that anti-gravity will understand the additional context I gave you. Now, in this case, what we want to do next is we're going to take this over here, I provided this context to the to architect, and here is the response. And the attached images. I want you to give this response a grade, and if it doesn't meet an A plus, then provide feedback and as many things as possible which are missing. Okay, so I could go back and forth. So this is really the key where I find that going back and forth and asking what is missing is can be useful because it's going to just go deeper and deeper and think through like all of the issues. Like, look, so it gave it a B minus, so which is I think is crazy. Engineer thinks this. What is your response? Now, what did it actually say? Why it failed? I accept a B minus grade. Jeez, look at this. You've reached your pro model limit. So something's going on with Gemini because I used to be able to do this for hours. And now like I'm done like after you even saw this. I just filmed this live. It's been less than an hour. Which means there's really a problem now with coding because it's not going to be able to work if that's the way crap. What? How am I going to do this? I provided this feedback to architect, and it produced a response. And then passed the response. I passed the response to engineer. And here is the response. What do you think is missing? And what do you think we should do? Make a plan and execute. So what am I going to do now? I used to use Pro to help me with this process, and now I'm game over. I didn't even have a full hour. So what do we do? All right, so now we're down to thinking now. Yes, include the task name, all the steps, test, and then the specific step being expanded. All right. So now this has to change because the three agent boardroom setup is just, I mean, it goes from pro. Now you gotta take it down to thinking. Are we still? Yeah, we're still showing my screen. Nice. Okay, we got our AI video, we got business, we got our scorecard. The scorecard is social media. The thing is that, like, at the end of the day, I want to be able to produce like social media. I want to get way better at like producing social media content. Uh, and then what is this? This is like and I want to have a growth scorecard. The thing is that this is a workflow. I don't mind having the workflow like this. And then we got the dashboard. So give some examples to Gemini and then revisit the prompt that goes through the API. So that's what it's working on right now. So I was already kind of like not happy about that situation. It's now fixing it. Begin creating the cubit connect to do. So this is what I really wanted to do. And now I'm trying to decide how to do that inside of this app or in a different app. Re-auditing code against the user's three-level requirements to determine what's actually broken. Let me verify exactly what's working, what's not against the user's three-level requirements. Now I have the complete picture. Here's what I found. Finalizing correct plan. Most features already work for the three-level cap. Now let me execute the changes for small and surgical, applying the two code changes. Now let me verify the build, running the build verification and pushing to GitHub. Checking the command sets, waiting for command completion. Yeah, so then, okay, the question is like, how fast do you bounce back from emotional distress? For example, I'm not happy about this situation. I'm not happy with a lot of things what's happening with Gemini right now. I'm not happy that I have to move back down to thinking because in my mind, thinking is not the one that is like the best for this issue. In the past, I have had the situation where I just work directly with like directly at this inside of the IDE. I think that we're going to be. So where do you want this X? The top corner? What kind of design choice? It's like a little X here, or um, I rather have. I want something like. hmm, Both Gemini instances were solving the wrong problem. They assumed that you wanted infinite recursion and proposed rewriting, add microsteps, extracting the recursive component, fixing the spinner depth check. After auditing the actual code against your three-level requirement, five things they said were broken that already work fine. Already found two levels, that's all it needs. Okay. Level 3 has no deep dive button, already renders as static text, full transcript already sent to general. The one real issue, when deep dive fires, the AI only saw the previous and next sibling steps, not all of them. Your ask was clear. I want all the context before and after. What I actually changed. Now, since all level 2 sibling step text with the current step marked instead of just pre next, AI now sees the full recipe structure. Deep dive context string now includes along the description, so the AI knows the overall recipe, section title, build passes, push to GitHub. Okay. Where's my Git? Yeah, well, dude, still failed. I don't know what this thing's all about. Lint and type check failed. Well, it's working, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I guess I got to come back here and use do what I can. Um, playwright test also failed. Okay, let's have a little chat. Okay, so we've made some changes to the code, and we're going to move on to the next issue. So, using the same images that we looked at before, basically, what I want to do is I want to have some kind of option that would enable the user to be able to click a little button, like an X, and then what would happen is then the user could make some decisions. So I think the essence of this tool, now that I've been using it and working with it for a couple of weeks, is that it's actually just a tool to take some text and edit that text. And it's using AI to edit the text. And the difference between using this tool to edit text and another tool to edit text is that this tool, it can edit like very specific sections of the text. For example, if I put in a recipe, then I mean, if I put in a transcript, then it's going to take that transcript and it's going to try to understand what is in the transcript and then break it down into the main tasks. Now, after it has the main tasks, then it's going to print out those main tasks with a cubit button next to it. So then I can go to the specific steps that I think are like the ones that I'm not sure about. Maybe I need some more information. And then what I can do then is I can click the qubit button, and then that will enable 4 additional steps to appear. Sometimes I want additional steps for one of those 4 steps that are generated. That's when I click the deep dive button, because then it can break down a single step into 4 even smaller steps. And that's as far as it goes. Now, the thing is that sometimes, like, there's already a button that enables where I can click a button to like check off some items. Like if I'm following the recipe and I'm just going through the items one by one, there's already the ability to click a button where it will strike the sentence, and that is only on the app. But like if I click the PDF button to export as a PDF, then that line will show up as a to-do list item. It won't be crossed out in the PDF, and it won't be crossed out in the Markdown file if I want to copy the Markdown file. But it's something like a UI button, so that if I'm working with that recipe, then I can actually in real time I can cross out specific items as I'm working through them. Now, that button only exists at the level of the 4 steps. It does not exist at the level of the subtask, the third level, and it also doesn't exist at the level of the main task. Um, but for right now, I think what's important is I want to be able to delete some of the main tasks. I don't necessarily, yeah. So I think that what I want, the first step that we need to take is that I want to have like a little X box at the top left-hand corner of like in the screenshot that I sent you, you can see there's one that says understand the power of concise stories. That's one to-do item. And then there's another one that says define your life's purpose statement. That's another to-do item. So what I want is using the uh, same color as the gray. So not the white, not the bold, like the title of the card, but inside of that text box, how it's like a little bit more gray. And it's like, for example, you see where it says learn how to capture the big idea. So we want to find out what is that type of color. Yeah, so what we want is to have some kind of little box. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so what we want is we want to have like a little X at the top right, at the top left hand corner So, for example, just up and to the left of the letter U in Understand the Power of Concise Stories. And for example, just up and a little bit to the left of Define Your Life's Purpose statement. And the color of the X and the size of the font, it should be basically the same as that subtext. You see where it says, Learn how to capture a big idea, or where it says, Discover how to articulate your personal goals. So I want an X that size of font and that color of font in the top left-hand corner of each of the qubit cards. And then what happens is if I click that X, then it's going to delete it. That means it's not going to appear in the PDF file, and it's also not going to appear in the Markdown file. And there's no way to get that to-do list item back. So if a person wants that to reappear, they're going to have to upload the transcript again and then they're going to have to start the analysis again to reproduce the distilled recipe. And so then that will be a lot more useful. Right, still working on that. Okay, so architect or engineer. Man, this guy just can't get past this thumbnail thing. All right, let's take a look. This is architect. The engineer is correct that my previous prompt was a B minus, but the engineer's own response is an A minus. They caught the ghost spinner, the context amnesia, but is skeptical who double checks the fine print. I see three critical things missing that are standing between us and an A plus performance. Architect's critique by engineer is an A minus. The visual hierarchy, the user wants an X at the top level, top left level 1, but the UI currently uses a checkbox circle for completion on level 2. If level 1 only has a delete button and level 2 only has a checkbox, the clean enterprise UX becomes inconsistent. The CSS float trap. The user asked for the X to be up and to the left of the letter U and to understand. If the coder just puts an icon there, it would likely overlap the text or break the line. Smash. We need the specific relative absolute positioning strategy. No undue danger. The user said no way to get back, but the professional software, a single on a small X shouldn't destroy 30-minute. It's not a 30-minute analysis. All right, so I got a little bit of feedback from the architect, and I would say, like reading the architect's feedback, I would say that, yeah, I agree. Probably there's an issue with the visual, the conflict between the X and the checkbox circle. Now, I think the X is like, yeah, it could be confusing because if they click the X, then it means that the whole card is going to disappear. But then when they click a circle, then what they're doing is that they're crossing out steps. Um, I don't know. I think I'm fine with this UX choice, but I just wanted to remind you that right now when I click the buttons, there's like that little button that says 4 steps generated. Somehow it stopped working. So like if I click that button, you see how it can like it's supposed to be able to I mean, what's the word when you have like the you see how the little arrow is pointing down and then you click that and then it will be pointing to the right. So and then it'll hide all of those 4 steps. So in a previous code change, I wanted it to automatically open up the 4 generated steps whenever someone clicks the qubit. Because basically what was happening before is I would click qubit and it would just create that one little line that said 4 steps generated. And then I'd have to click that in order to reveal the 4 steps that it generated. So then I asked it to change so that when it generates those 4 steps and it automatically opens that. But the issue now is that when I try to click that button, then it doesn't fold up the 4 steps. So, like, the reason why I'm fine with the checkbox is because once I've checked all the items, then what I'm going to do is I want to be able to click the 4 steps generated little button, and then it's going to fold up those steps so that like that card is now like I'm finished with that. And then if I'm not actually printing out the markdown file, if I'm not actually using the PDF, then at that point I can click the X, which will delete that whole thing. And I'm not worried about this idea of like, well, you're going to lose all of your work because I'm not going to lose all my work because this is right now I'm just uploading one simple transcript and if and the transcript is actually quite short. Usually it's less than 60 seconds of text when read out loud. And so like I don't mind having that little X appear. I just want to make sure that you think about where the X will appear and how it will fit within the context of the current text output box, and then how the user will feel when they see it. And then, so then if they're only using the app and they're not actually producing markdown files or PDFs, then they're going to be able to both open up the steps that they've generated. They're going to be able to cross out steps that they've completed. And then eventually they're going to be able to close up that box. And then finally, they can even click the X so that they can feel like they've accomplished something and that they are ready to move to the next step. So now I'm going to provide you the context that came from the architect, and I want you to produce a prompt and discuss the context and help anti-gravity understand what we've been discussing and how to move forward with this task, including how to also fix the button related to the 4 steps generated. Oh boy. Just look at the tasks, deep dive, break them down, check them off, fold up the accordion once the module is done, finalize, and delete the card if no longer needed. Okay, so this is from, here is, the playwright test didn't pass. Should we fix that now or later? Here is another feature to check and complete, make a plan, and execute. Context from engineer, and feedback from architect. Yeah. I think I told it the playwright test isn't working right. Yeah. Pretty test didn't pass. Should we fix that now or later? All right. So my assumption is that okay, planning final polish features, starting to research the A plus final polish accordion restoration, delete X button, the 3-level hard cap, the PDF export behavior. Toggle task expansion is an empty function. It does nothing. Now let me see if the full store interface type and PDF generation. Looking at the PDF export, writing implementation plan. Good. The PDF is actually, which prints whatever is on screen. The markdown uses, which reads for checkbox marks. The user wants exports to always show unchecked boxes. Let me check if the print style sheet understands what gets printed. Good. Now I have a complete picture. Let me check the results feed to understand on. Let me check the, okay. Yeah, so I was kind of like wondering if today, if we're gonna run out of credits in this one too. Okay, so then the question I have is like, is thinking enough solves complex problems? Is thinking enough for, I mean, because Pro is good because it like gives us all of the code in the background, so it understands the code, and then we bring it into thinking. Is this good enough? I guess, I don't know, maybe. but I just feel afraid. Like I feel like I can't work with like I'm always going to be running out of credits. I'm always going to be running out of tokens. It's always going to be sending me these messages. Like I would say that my experience with Gemini is like it's starting to get a little bit like okay, like it was awesome. It was really awesome for a little while, and then suddenly um, we didn't have as we don't have as much freedom. Like they're still taking the money, but we're not getting the same level of service. The level of service went down. So what do you do when your level of service goes down? I've researched the full code base and found some good news. Several of the engineers' proposed fixes are already working from our previous session. Here's the real situation. Mhm. Placement decision for X. The architect correctly flags the top left conflict with the chevron. I'm proposing top right instead, keeping it discrete and far from the fold unfold button. This avoids accidental deletions, export clarification, renders empty circles, no need to change. Markdown does use is completed to show X, so I'll force it to always show as per your request. Only 3 files need change. The rest is done. Please. Okay. All right. So I'm still thinking about like, what am I going to do with this? We got this. We're getting really close. It does everything I wanted to do. Just one way to do it. It sounds crazy, I know. But so if you type in the wrong thing, it's going to send you to this 404 coordinate not found. You found the backdoor to cubit to do infinite granular. It's not actually infinite granular. I kind of want to add a button here. So I don't know. This is supposed to be an email, like a wait list. I'm not sure if waitlists. I mean, what are waitlists? Is it something? Is it anything? Is a waitlist like the way that the works these days? I mean, I don't know about being secretive. I don't know about being like tricky. I don't know about being confusing. I don't know about any of this. But like the biggest problem that we're having is just producing, and like getting things done, getting things like shipping it and using it and ironing out the bugs. It's like, how do I get one user? How do I get two users? So it cubit it maybe just call it cubit cubit connect engine to do. We could just add a to do here, and then you click it, and then it's going to send you to the next page, and then the next page is exactly like this page, except it's going to be, it uses the same principles, and then we're going to make it look like this. I think we could do it. All right, well, let's talk about it then. Okay, I want to build another page, a new page, and it's a page that doesn't exist in the past. So in order for us to build this page, then we need to think about what the page does. And like one of the issues about the current page is that if you do not have an API key, which is attached to, which is saved in your browser, then you cannot technically be on the engine page. If you actually remove the API key, then it will, like if you click disconnect session, so then what it does is it deletes the API key. That's going to take you back to the home page. So I also want with the new page, I also want it so that if you haven't If you don't have a live API key, then it also will send you back to the homepage. And we might make some changes on the homepage, but not right now. And so now, okay, so after you after you plug in an API key, it's going to bring you to the Qubit Connect engine page. And I want it to stay like that. So I don't want that workflow to change. But I want you to create a new button in the top of in the header. And we need to think about a new icon because basically we have some icons. So I'm just going to send you the picture of the header, what the header looks like right now. So you can think about what the icon might look like. And we want the icon to, it's going to say to do. So a capital TO hyphen capital DO. I mean, capital T and capital D, but small o and small o. And yeah, so that's the idea is then when you navigate to the new page, then it's going to say Qubit Connect, and then instead of saying engine, you see how it says engine next to Qubit Connect, it's going to say Qubit Connect to do. It's going to be the same font and the same basic feeling, and also the buttons are all going to be the same. So it's going to be a copy of this page. Also, the as you can see, the dark mode and like the way that things are designed and the features. We want to we need to start asking some questions about how we're going to design the page so that it can maintain the same rules for the page and how things look. And then, in addition to that, then I want to give you an understanding of the functionality of this page. So before I give you more details about the page, I'm going to upload the image of the header, and then you'll be able to look at the header, understand the current situation. And then after you finish with that information, then I'm going to upload a picture of like a really, really simple mock-up. And I'm going to describe what is inside the mockup, what it looks like, and what the different features of that mockup are supposed to be doing. Oh boy. Oops. Let's go the wrong way. There we go. So I'm guessing this is probably not going to work, but I'm just curious about, is this going to work? There's a little X. Okay, the X is in the wrong spot. Look at this. Check this out. Oh, oh, it disappeared. Oh, oh no. Wow, what happened? That X is really sensitive. And it collapses and opens. Good. That's great. Well, I need to fix this, so let's just fix it first. Mm. Let's put in our story guy. Oops. Uh-oh, still going. Why did it do it twice? All right. Well, where are we? Oh, we're on this one. Okay. Mm, now I don't want it to confuse. I don't want it to be confused about this cubit connect. So we need to find this file. I think it's here. In fact, yeah. Oh, here it is. Cubit connect, because we could change that later, and maybe this is what it is now. I don't know. Cubit connect. Hmm. Add a task. So adding a task adds a row, and then the minus. Hmm. I don't think that's useful, because you should be able to just pull the row, and then it'll say delete. Add a task. Okay, fine. And this doesn't make sense anymore. Cubit. All right. So when I click cubit, dial left, dial right, cubit. Okay, I got it. What's going on over here? All right. So what's going on here is I wanted to. Uh, I want it to look like a little joystick. Now we got these two buttons. One is called cubit, and one is called deep dive. Uh, hmm I mean, it could be the same. I don't know. Deep dive. There's really no point because it's the same function. So the way I'm thinking about it is that let's say you have a task. It's an item underneath the task list, and then you click cubit, and then when you click cubit, then so let's make this like blue, for example. I want it to be just the border color, border width, border color. Can I change a border color? background color, border color. Okay, border color. Let's say it's blue is fine. Blue. Um, oops. Oopsie daisies. Okay, now let's make this border width. That's fine. Okay, so if I click cubit, then all the tasks will the task will go blue, and then I click the task, and then it's gonna go pop, pop, pop. It's gonna add the steps. Then deep dive. Deep dive is purple. Purple, purple. That looks like it could be a different color. Okay, that's psychedelic. What colors are we using over here? Didn't we have two colors with the green and the purple? The green. What about reset? Okay, we got a blue, and we got so blue, purple, and then green. Okay, blue, purple, green. Dial left. Let's make dial left green. And dial right can be yellow. Okie dokie. All four fixed issues. Delete X repositioning. What is this? Double processing fix root cause. Re-triggered the effect called the start processing again along with one video input. Also already called remove task from the depth. Now only fires. Okay, flaky EA test. Okay. Well, let's just check that and see what happened. We'll find out shortly. Okay, let's jump back into here. All right. That's really hard to read that. Why is it white? You have to make some decisions about what's overlapping what. So we got the blue with in the this is overlapping that, that's overlapping that, that's overlapping that, that's overlapping that. All right, we'll just leave it because it's not going to make a difference. We just need to make, oopsie daisies. We just need to That doesn't matter. It's not going to be in our. It's going to be solved in a different way. Okay, we got dial left, we got dial right. And this is fine. This, I think this has everything that I wanted to. Everything basic that I want to do. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, you had like months to think about this, so like it's minimal changes considering the amount of time I've had to think about this. Heh, it worked. Nice. Okay, we are live. Okay then. What's his name? Engineer. I'm always asking it. We got to get ourselves up to A plus. You can still see it. Amazing. All right, let's see where we're at. The architect has pushed us to the high performance zone by highlighting the logic. The mobile smash audit for the header are ensuring this isn't just a copy paste job, but a professional architectural expansion. We're a strong A. Why it's an A protocol alignment. We're strictly following the clean enterprise DNA lucid only icon law. Oh, excuse me. What's missing? Okay. Okay, it says I'm ready for the mockup. So we're gonna say, here's the response. Here is the feedback from architect, engineer. Find 10 things that may be missing from above if it's still not an A plus, and especially given the context of the information I'm adding here below. Okay, so let's have a little chat. Cubit Connect to do. This is what I've been trying to build for a really long time, and let's just build it. Okay, so here we are. Let's go through this image step by step. Basically, you can see that at the top of the screen, we have the name of the product. It's called Cubit Connect. And in the Cubit Connect engine, we also have the Cubit Connect, like that screen that says Cubit Connect, and then it has like a subtitle, so it explains what it is, what Cubit Connect engine is. Now we could have one line, I guess. I didn't think of that. I didn't put it in the image above, but it could say something like um, make your uh, think about. Okay, I mean, let me think about how we can say this really simply. Um, Turn your tasks into 4 steps, and then pick a priority and begin working. So something like that, but maybe a little more snappy. If you can edit that a little bit. So basically, you can see underneath of Qubit Connect, there is a box that says dial in your priorities. You have dial left and dial right. The actual text dial left and dial right in that box just below dial in your priorities. That's that text is just so that you understand the purpose of that box, those two boxes. So, and then underneath that, you can see that there is a series of tasks. Well, there's the text task in column one, and then step one, step two, step three, step four in those 4 columns. Now, what's going to happen is like in the Qubit Connect engine that I already showed you, it's basically has a very specific purpose. It turns a transcript into to do items, and then you click Qubit, and then it turns it into the 4 steps to do that one to do item, and then you click deep dive, and then it gives you the ability to take one of the steps and then break it down into 4 smaller steps. So you can see that the philosophy behind Qubit Connect is very, very simple. The word qubit, cube, a cube is to turn something into a three-dimensional object. And the idea is like if you look at the task list, basically you have a two-dimensional plane. And what happens is, well, you start with one dimension. So let's say that I have a task, and then that task we're not really sure what to do in order to complete that task. So what we're going to have to do in order to complete that task is we need to break it down into steps. And then once we break it down into steps, that's the second dimension. Now, what's the third dimension? Why do we call it cube? Cube it. So what happens is you can see below there's a blue button, so that it looks a little bit like directions, like up, down, left, right, and then in the middle you can see it says plus task. Let's start with the plus task button. So obviously, if you click the plus task button, it'll add a row. And then the question is, how do you make the row disappear? And what you do is if you move your finger, if you touch a row and then slide your finger to the left, or I mean, that's for mobile. So let's start with mobile. And if you touch the screen and slide to the left, then it'll show like a little red box that says delete, and then you click the delete button, and then it makes that task row disappear. There's no warnings, and there's no extra anything else. It's just really simple. And so someone can just slide it, and then it will delete. Then if they want another line to appear, then they just click the plus task button, and it adds an additional row. So let's say that I click the first task button on my mobile. So I click that, and then the keyboard is going to appear, and then I write in the task. Um, and then if I click anywhere on the screen, or if I click the back button, like if I'm using Android, then it's going to the keyboard, it's going to disappear. So I have something written into the task box. Now I can manually write in the steps, but the joy of the app is that if I click the blue qubit button, then any of the items in the like any of the like the first column, the task row, so that whole column is going to have the blue color. So any of the full border of the task column is going to turn the same color as the qubit color. So then if I touch any of the tasks in that row, then whatever task I touched is going to use the API key, and it's gonna create the steps to accomplish that one item. So of course there's going to be some issues when it comes to context, because maybe there's not a lot of context. Like if they put like a very like very few words in the task, then it could be difficult for us to figure out like what to feed the AI in order to like tell it how to break that down into smaller steps. So for now, let's not think too deeply into this, but just create some kind of prompt that will tell AI to basically explain to use its best judgment for how to turn this task into three smaller steps. Now, also, if you click any of the steps, then you can edit that text. The keyboard will appear again. Now, when you click the deep dive button, then the step one, step two, step three, step four, all of those four columns are going to light up the same um, purple color. Now, remember that we're going to be using the blue and the purple and the green from the original Qubit Connect app. So it's going to have we're going to have some information about the actual colors to use from our documentation. And so then, yeah, so basically we're going to be clicking the deep dive button, and then all of the step one, step two, step three, step four columns are going to turn that color. And then I can click any of those boxes. If I click, I'm just going to click one of the steps. And what happens when I click deep dive is it's going to take whatever text is in that step, it's going to create a new row underneath that specific row. And then it's going to put that item into the task button, into the task area. And then it's going to automatically populate the step one, step two, step three, step four based on whatever that task was. Okay, so that subtask, it changes its hierarchy, it moves into the task spot, and then it automatically populates the four steps for what previously was a step, and now it becomes a main task. After you've done that workflow, then you're going to have a whole bunch of tasks and a bunch of steps. And then, so what you're going to do is you're going to click dial left. When you click dial left, then all of the step one, step two, step three, step four, all those that border, it turns green. And also the dial left box underneath dial in your priorities also turns green. And then whatever step you click is going to it's going to enter the text there is going to enter into the dial left box. And then if you click dial right, then the all step one, step two, step three, step four columns, any of those columns are going to turn yellow. And then whatever step you click is going to populate the same text. It's going to go into the where I've written the text dial right under the word dial in your priorities. So you can see that the workflow of the app is basically to write in your tasks and then to use AI in order to take a task and then make it into steps. And then if one of the steps is needs some further breaking down into even more steps, then you're going to click deep dive in order to make that a main task and then to create four additional steps. And then once you have all of your steps figured out, then you can dial in your priorities by clicking dial left and clicking a step or clicking the dial right and then clicking a step. And the way that you know which box to select is that when you click one of those colored boxes at the bottom, like qubit or dial left or dial right or deep dive, then the only the column which you can select is going to be highlighted, and it's going to be highlighted in the color related to the workflow that you're going to do. All right, so this is the thing is that it has the context. Like both of these two Gemini agents, they have the context, they have the code. It understands like the background of our Qubit Connect engine app. I'm not happy that it. Um, I mean, it's good enough for me. I don't think we need to go deeper into this because we're going to go here. Uh, Here's the context for a new contribute page. So does it start? Here's the context. Here's the feedback from the engineer. This is the engineer. The architect has pushed us into a high performance zone. Store a alignment. Okay, that was okay. So I want to just put in this. Hmm. All right. Waiting for this moment for quite a long time. All right, let's jump back into this other one. Let's just make sure we're still, yeah, we're still here. Amazing. Okay, so what's gonna happen after this is that I'll be able to move this stuff. Okay, we did it. We put the X into the. I wonder if it looks better now. Let's take a look at our situation video mode. Let's put this lady in here because I'm curious. Like I looked at her thing before, it didn't really work very well. So let's see if the new version is going to improve. Engine failed. Timeout. 20 seconds. Huh. It's the first time it ever failed. Is it because this one's okay? This one's done. All right, it worked. And it didn't have the extra thing. Okay, good. So understand that. Oh, look at this. It got the X right here. That's a much better place. Actually, I like that. That's fine. You can edit it here. You can edit it here. You can delete it there. Okay, understand the content purpose. Learn how to plan your content with clear goals in mind. So every post you achieve something specific. Imagine context layers. Picture your content at different levels, each designed for a unique audience interaction. Develop engaging starter content. Create fun, easy to watch content like daily stories or trending topics to attract a wide audience. Establish expert authority. Share your knowledge and insight through detailed explanation to build trust and show your expertise. Understand the content purpose. Learn how to plan your content with clear goals in mind so every post helps you achieve something specific. Was that actually in her video? Imagine content layers. Picture your content at different levels, each designed. Okay, so I want to delete this. I want to cubit this. I want to cubit this. And I want to cubit this. Okay, I identify your overarching business goals such as audience growth, product sales, establish what each content piece should aim to achieve. Distinguish between the different layers of content, top of the layer, broad reach and growth, layer two for building authority. Strategically select appropriate content layer for each post based on specific objective, matching top layer for content growth. Okay. Articulate specific desired outcome for every individual piece of content. Yeah, we said that. Brainstorm specific, easy to watch stories, day in the life narratives. Okay, but that's Okay, design content concepts that are visually appealing, easy to consume, aim for material that most people could watch and enjoy. Produce engaging, super cool content pieces, short videos, visual posts that have hmm. Distribute this content with primary goal audience growth. Okay, so this one, I want to go deep dive on this one. Create content that provides detailed breakdowns with specific knowledge areas. Educate the audience. Develop present clear frameworks that offer structure. So how do I do this? Develop present, develop and present clear frameworks that offer structured ways for audience to understand the approach or problem. Share compelling stories that explicitly demonstrate that you have know-how. Articulate your insight through explanations to build trust and firmly establish your authority with the audience. Okay, this is a much better user experience. This was failing before. So let's see if we can just close that up. Great. Exactly. Now I want to start with this one. So brainstorm. All right. So let's say we're in a meeting. All right. Let's talk about some generate a list of potential easy to watch stories and day in the life narratives. Actively research and identify flashy trends, brainstorm specific angles, hooks, unique twists, evaluate brainstorm ideas based on other broad appeal. I love it. It's great. Yeah, that's perfect. Let's click PDF, and it should have the girl's picture next to each. Yeah, I mean, you can't look at that. Establish authority. That doesn't actually match with that, but it's fine. Because this is just a little this is I don't know if we're ever going to be able to get it to where's the easiest. So here's the easiest way. It's just to remind you which Instagram post it was. So this one got expanded, this one was expanded, and this one there was three that were expanded for number three. There was one that was expanded in number two. There was one that was expanded in number two, and there was three expanded in number three. Exactly. It did it. It did it. It did it exactly. And you can delete it, and you can delete it, and you can delete it. Oh, it's perfect. I love it. Okay. Great question. The engineer and architect have covered 20 points between them, but there are real gaps. Here are 10 things neither of them caught that will bite you in production. 10 missing pieces. Step count mismatch. The four column line. The table has exactly four step columns, but Gemini doesn't guarantee exactly four results. What happens when the API? Oh, okay. I think we should just go back. I want to add a new button on the Qubit Connect engine page that opens a new page. The new page will be Qubit Connect to do. I've added an image to show the basic layout. We need to make the UI feel and look the same as the Qubit Connect engine page. Let's do one more since now there's a big problem with this video. So what happens in this one is there's actually some problems in the transcript. He says this word. What is it? What is the word he says? says XAAI or something like that, but that's actually not the page. It's like AXAI. I don't know. There's it's something to do with B2B sales. And see, it says XAAI, but that's not actually the website. I don't know. I don't really care right now. This is a substantial new feature. Let me research the current code base architecture first, then give you my 10 missing pieces and concrete plan. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, because the thing is that I can't build it. I can't build. I'm built. I have to build it from one direction. So before I was building it from the perspective of projects, and then once you have a project, then you write down the objectives, and then once you have the objectives, then you write down the scoreboard, and then once you have the scoreboard, then you can do the rapid race goal tracker. And the issue is that we have to start from the other direction. We have to start from the rapid race goal tracker. The old rapid race goal tracker. Look at it. Here's the dial. You see, here's the choose the left of the matrix, choose the right. Back in the day, the rabbits still move. So amazing. I love those rabbits. Right, get the user's approval on the plan. Implement extend sod schema to do rows extends build to do table component 5 column grid priority dials component build action bar component implement interaction mode state machine integration for table. Yeah, deep cubit deep dive implement mobile responsive card fallback wire export PDF MD to 2. Wire exports. That's interesting. Verification type script passes build passes manual test. All right, here's my 10 missing pieces of content. 4-step cap, a variable Gemini output. The mockup enforces exactly 4 columns, but Gemini returns variable length arrays. We need padding, truncated logic. Undo the table, undo for table deletions. Swipe to delete in the table with no undo is risky. Proposing a 5 seconds sooner toast with an undo button. Cell editing, yes, nobody specified if the step cells are editable inline. Yeah, I did actually. Holding tab to edit no level 3 table view. Deep dive in the engine creates microsteps below. Yes, deep dive in the engine creates microsteps below. In the table, there's no below. It creates a new row. This is a paradigm shift. The table is flat, 2 levels, level only. Header needs what? Okay. The architect is right on point out that we're currently building two powerful but disconnected islands, the engine and the to-do table. By answering the architect's questions based on your specific vision, we can turn this into an A+ plan that makes the app feel like a singular unified knowledge to action system. Here's the response to the architect's 10 points based on our discussion and best practices. Answering the architect's 10 missing pieces, the dial persistent schema will add a priority left, priority right key to the app. Use app store. This will store the exact text string currently dialed in so they survive a page refresh. Conflict resolution. The bridge, you may want these to be separate pages, but for a clean enterprise workflow, the send to do button on the engine's task card is essential. Send to do button. It prevents you from having to manually retype everything you just distilled from the transcript. Ah, I see what that's the thing is. That's a good point, but these are two different pieces of software. Um, so no, no, this is not. This is not. These are two completely separate. Hold on, let me just read this and chat at the same time. The architect is right to point out that we are currently building two powerful disconnected islands. All right, let's do it like this. Let's change this one. Also, I don't want the text or data from the engine to be sent to the to-do. To-do page. It is a separate application in our suite of tools, and it uses a similar logic. Okay, blue. Okay, API throttle. Even if you click 5 cubit buttons, the request will queue up and process one by one safely. New task focus trap we use. Cursor will automatically jump into the new task input so you start typing immediately. Row and cell processing. If you click cubit on the task, the entire row will pulse. If you click row versus cell processing, if you click cubit on a task, the entire row will pulse. If you click deep dive on a single step, only that cell will show the spinner. Okay, I see. Scout integration. For now, the scouts, this keep the scouts separate. Priority box growth will send goes PDF export logic. This will be page aware if you're on the to-do page. The done state, a finished row will simply be struck through a line through the text. We will to the bottom yet. This that can be jarring in a demo. Okay. Heh, caught you. Caught you with your pants. What? So this is showing that I'm actually showing it, but this is showing that I'm not showing it. 2 hours. Oh, send the dog for a walk. In your markup, to dial up and dial right the question. When I click dial up to green mode, then click a step. Does it copy the text into the box or does it move it? Moving it from the table, copying it usually safe for recipes. Dial. Okay. When dialing left and right, it copies the text into the dial box. Five column will smash on a phone screen. Mobile, do you want a table to become a scrollable horizontal list, or should the four steps stack vertically under the task? Stacking is usually better for reading. I see. There's going to be another. It's got to be a horizontal list. The table is a horizontal list that scrolls left and right. There will be another page that will link to these tasks and steps in the future, which will connect to setting an alarm for specific tasks and setting a function for celebration when a task is completed, though it won't happen in the main table. The cubit model, when you click the blue cubit button on the manual task, do you want the AI to generate exactly 4 steps every time? Or can prior 2 or 3 leave the rest blank centers? Always produce 4 steps. The main table always produce 4 steps. Hey. The architect is being cautious, but I hear your vision clearly. There are 2 distinct tools, engine and to do. Engine and table. Table, engine and table. That's interesting. Table. I like that. Table. Let's answer those three questions? The plus task placement. When you click the plus in the middle of your directional pad, does the new row appear at the top of the table or at the bottom? The top is better for immediate action. Bottom is better for building a list. Okay. Clicking the plus task button adds a task to the bottom, and the click and drag enables a reordering of rows. Delete trigger. For the desktop version of the table, do you want a small X to appear when you hover over the task? Like we did, so you strictly swipe to delete. Strictly swipe to delete. Strictly swipe to delete. The dial section. When the dial mode is activated, yellow, green, and you click a step, does the box only accept the text, or should it also store which task row it came from? To jump back to, no, just the text. The dial only accepts text and is not connected to the row or task or step where it came from. Jeez, what's going on? Okay, we're very close. So horizontal scroll UX. In the table, the task 4 steps 5 horizontal scroll can feel clunky. In the first column, the task disappears. We need to decide if the task column is sticky. Huh. Yeah, task column is sticky. The dial selection state. When the dial left is active, you click a step and the text copies over. Does the dial mode turn off automatically? Does it stay on so you can click multiple things? After clicking dial left, the step columns turn the same border color, and the dial left border color also changes. After clicking the step, the text appears in the dial and the border color goes back to normal for table, and the dial color stays the highlighted color as the button below, which says dial left. And there are 2 items in the dial, and the dial item is clicked. The border color becomes thicker to show which item is being worked on, prioritized. Task plus task payment. You set it as a task button. The long table, the user might have to scroll all the way down to see the new row they just created. Yeah? Yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm. Adds to plus task adds a task to the bottom, to the top, and if you double tap an empty row, it will be sent to the very bottom. All right, I gotta go. The dog's gonna be going crazy pretty soon. He just wants to go for a run. Engineering resolution dial. Final 5 questions. Okay. Here is some context. Here is the reply from engineer, and engineer. design based on current best practices, and how many do we still need to discuss? 2 minutes until the alarm goes off for my buddy. Engineers, 5 questions resolved. Deep dive, edit, summary of all resolved decisions. AI generation fix 4 balls, new row position. Okay, build. All right, so it's the same thing, right? So just like in Google, we were able to just edit. We can just click the edit the prompt, and then we were able to make some updates. So I think what we're going to do here is we're just going to let it run, and then we're going to see. We can instead of pushing it to GitHub, it might just automatically push it to GitHub. But anyways, it's time to take the dog for a run. So thanks you for joining me on an hour of code. It was a little more than an hour. And we'll catch you next time.